Makes me wonder sometimes, are we in hell or inches away from confronting the powers that be?
Well, thanks for joining us, folks. David Icke has been kind enough to join us today. He will be in California here this weekend, which is good to hear. You guys get out there and see him. I have a feeling that the protection umbrella of all things universe will be over that particular conference. David Icke has published, as of last year, this huge compendium of the history of the world and the actual answers it takes to free ourselves, to get off of our knees. Human race, get off your knees. The lion sleeps no more. David, I think it's the best book you've written since And the Truth Shall Set You Free. Not that all of your work isn't great. David was one of the first people out there to document and get people on the record after 9/11. And I've just been very grateful, David, to have your friendship and tutelage all these 10 years now or so we've been working together. And to think that you're the voice of reason is rather comforting to me. I'd like to talk a little bit more about Japan. One of the interesting things is that Westinghouse, it was involved in the manufacturing and upkeep of these nuclear plants in Japan, as well as General Electric, a lot of these military-industrial complex people, Halliburton, Bechtel. They've nearly got the market cornered in the nuclear reactor industry, which is now proving to be maybe a little too expensive to actually help us all, and this is finally being the question. But Westinghouse, George Westinghouse, was also the guy that stole all the Tesla technology, stole all of his patents.
Yeah, these corporations work in effect as one unit because of the pyramid structure, the Russian dolls, one doll inside another. These different corporations that appear to be different actually are at their core working as one unit with that which controls governments, that which controls the banking system to push the world in this direction. So it wouldn't surprise me if there were things specifically put into some of these reactors that they've created to specifically create chaos and fear and tremendous problems when things like this happened. I mean, I was reading a story which we put on my website today about reactors in California who were not forced to have earthquake situations in place that would stop the same thing happening there. And it was like, no, you don't have to do it. What do you mean you don't have to do it? It's in an earthquake zone. It's a nuclear reactor. No. So, there's so much that goes on and has gone on behind the scenes while people have been watching the game or, Friends or the game show. That we're now beginning to take the consequences for. And, some people, not many over the years, have opened their eyes to this. Increasing numbers are now, but for goodness sake, look at how we got into this situation by looking the other way, by getting caught in all the diversions of life. Look over here while we do something over here and you don't see because you're watching the game or whatever. We got into this situation by not paying attention. All right, there's been a lot of manipulation to make us not pay attention, but the responsibility is still with us. We've not. We've also gone through this process of, well, if it doesn't affect me, it's not my problem. But when you do that, eventually it does become your problem. And that's what we're seeing now. So please, people, those that have not been paying attention, those that have been looking the other way, those that have been saying, oh, it's not my problem because it doesn't affect me immediately, look at what's happening as a result of that. We need to change. We need to start paying attention. We need to start getting involved, and we start to realize that everybody's injustice is our injustice, because if it's not, in the end it will be when they've picked off all these other groups in society, all these other nations, all these other income brackets, colours and creeds and religions. There'll be a knock on your door, and who's going to be there to speak for you? Well, there is no one left because they've picked all the others off while you were looking the other way saying it's not my problem. What we need to do very, very urgently is to put aside all these irrelevant divisions that are put there to divide and rule us: religion, income bracket, colour, creed, culture, and all the rest of it, so that we come together in unity and realize that this is an attack on the freedom, the basic freedom of all of us, Muslim, Jew, Christian, atheist, whatever, and on the children and grandchildren that have to live in the world that we are leaving them. And if anyone thinks their religion is more important than that, or their bloody politics is more important than that, or their income bracket, color, creed, whatever is more important than that, then you are a disgrace. And you are in such a closed, concrete-minded state, it takes my breath away. Now, come on. We've been going along this road for long enough, and look where it got us. We have to change. We have to start putting down the fault lines of division and realize we're all in this together, because they're playing now in the Middle East Sunni Muslims off against Shiite Muslims, just as they've played Muslims off against Christians and Jews off against Christians and Muslims and all the rest of it, like they play Republicans off against Democrats when they're two masks on the same face. We have to change, because if we don't, what they want will unfold, and what they want is absolutely horrific. It's time to stop being children in adult bodies and start to stand up together and face this. And if we do, we can bring it to an end, because we have the numbers. There are 7 billion plus in this world, divided and ruled through all these fault lines I'm talking about, but there is a handful, comparatively, of people at the core who are orchestrating all of this. Now, we, the 7 billion, have not come together in unity because the few have divided and ruled us and set us at war with each other. Economic competition, military competition, competition for dominance of religion and belief system. When we let that go, the unity of the mass of the people can swamp the pinprick number at the core of the core who are orchestrating this. Time is now. Fork in the road is in front of us, and we have no time left to decide which way to go.
And yet, David, even as you say this, I hear the cynical out there saying, okay, well, I'm not getting together with that person. They don't believe the same way I believe, and I'm just going to go head for the hills and look out for myself. There's nowhere to go, David. They got the whole place wired. There is nowhere to go. They are literally seconds away from cashless society and microchip populations, as if, people didn't believe us when we said that 10 years, 20 years ago. Look at it now. This is the time where we do have to set aside our differences. What do we say to these cynical people that are so worn out that they can't put their differences aside?
Well, if you can't put your differences aside, I tell you what we ought to do. Tell you what we'll do. When people are in the concentration camps, and when their children and grandchildren are having every detail of their lives, even their thoughts, dictated by this global tyranny that's unfolding, I tell you what we should do. We should all sit around, before they take us to bring an end to us altogether, we should all sit around and we should have a debate on who had the best religion, who had the best politics, who had the best belief system, who had the most money. That's what we can do. That'd be a great idea, wouldn't it?
And then we can have
that has to happen now.
Yeah.
It has to end now, because if it doesn't, a nightmare scenario is going to unfold. It has to happen now. And if people aren't prepared to do it, don't complain when the nightmare unfolds.
Well, I hope that everyone was listening. And I like to think that the people out there, the 30% of the people that allegedly voted in cousin Obama, are looking at this hypocrisy and realize he's not just doing the best he can to deal with the Bush's trophies, that he's doing the best he can to continue that work as part of the overall family. David, where are you going to be here coming up in California? Where can people go see you?
I'm at the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium in Los Angeles from 10 till 8 o'clock a week tomorrow, next Saturday in effect. And I'll be pulling the pieces together of a vast, vast picture.
Thanks for lending us your voice. David Icke, DavidIcke.com. Human race, it's time. Get off your knees. The lion sleeps no more. Thank you, David. We'll be back in the second hour.
Cheers, Jack.
This.